Hi there, this is Brooke, and my personal channel is Thriving Vine, and I'd like to thank you so much for joining us here on PeppermintJuju this week. If you haven't done so already, please click the subscribe button. Many more weeks of many more enlightening words to come. And we would just really enjoy, having you be able to come back with us and not miss a single video. So please click that subscribe button up there. And if you're watching this mobile, you would click the PeppermintJuju name down there, and then it will take you to our main page, and then the subscribe button would be over there. Awesome. Okay, so this week's word, dun, 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 is death. Death is a word that can evoke so many emotions in people, often very somber ones. Losing someone I care about definitely does evoke emotions of sadness, loss, grief within me. But I'm not going to focus on necessarily the loss of a love relationship where you love the person, know the person, like the person, have a relationship with the person, or perhaps it's an animal companion. Perhaps it's a beloved plant. I'm not going to focus solely on that. I would like to, explore the idea of death in terms of the ending of something. And so I don't think of death as, just happening when, you go to the funeral home and you bid your respects and you say goodbye. And, death is all around us all the time. Every time that you start a new project, a new opportunity, there has been a death of a previous one. Everything must exist in balance. When something begins, something else has had to end. When something ends, what does that mean? It means something else is going to begin. Here in Ontario, we have 4 distinct seasons. And so if we start our seasonal calendar, if you will, at spring. So spring, things are waking up. They are emerging. Tree leaf buds are swelling. Plants and flowers are, busting through the soil. This is the beginning of new life. Summer comes, life continues to grow and plants are getting stronger and our gardens are producing fruit. So the essence of life is flowing through everything in the summertime here in Ontario, except for this last summer because it was so hot and so dry. Just don't go there. And then you come into fall and things start to slow down and sort of pull back. Your garden plants start to, they're finishing off their fruiting cycle, and then they start to get a little bit wilty, and you're pulling them from your garden and, either composting them or burning them, whatever it is you do with them. And then comes winter, and we get snow here, and so the snow falls and it acts like a beautiful white duvet, and everything goes to sleep or perhaps dies. It rests, it regroups, it reorganizes itself in some cases. I don't know about you, but there's been times in my garden that I planted something in one place and come spring it's coming up in another. So, the winter is a time of death, of rest, of the completion of the seasonal life cycle, if you will. But the beauty of looking at things such as life and death through, seasonal glasses, if you will, is that that come March, April here in Ontario, things are going to begin to thaw, and the cycle's going to start all over again. And things are going to be stronger and healthier, and perennial plants would have spread, and just so many wonderful things happen coming out of the winter, which is essentially a death cycle of sorts. And the same thing happens in our lives when one opportunity is in a winter cycle, in that it's sort of laying dormant. It's not, the life force isn't surging through it anymore. Know that when you're in those dry periods of your life, that spring is coming. Spring is coming. And when we focus on the death and the losses, we can sometimes miss the spring. And I'm just going to take this a step further. Most of you probably do not know, but I lost my father in 2006. And this was something that shook me to the core of who I was, who I am. It changed me forever, obviously. We had always had a very strained relationship. I didn't have a sunshines and butterflies childhood, but it doesn't mean that my father passing away didn't affect me greatly. Right, I'm trying not to cry. So when we lose someone or something that we care about, we go through stages of grief. And that's okay. If you have lost someone or something you care about, perhaps this is not a popular opinion, but I'm going to tell you the truth, because that's what I do. I say it like it is. You will never be able to fill that hole. You do, however, begin to build one of those beautiful bridges, those arched bridges that have flowers growing up them, to get over that hole. And building that bridge takes time. But there's nothing and no one that is ever going to replace what you have lost. And often people having the best intentions, their first, thing that sort of spills out of their mouth, when they see somebody having a hard time with the loss of someone or something that they've cared about, is, they're in a better place now. I don't know about you, but when I've lost something or someone that I've cared about, I don't bloody well care if they're in a better place right now, because they're not with me. And that's what hurts, that they're not with me. That they, and there's feelings of they left me. Like, how could they leave me? And, as I've sat with this for the last 6 years, and I can breathe about it now. The first couple years were rough. They were rough. But I began creating I call them new normals. And, I I don't, if you are open to it, you will get signs. I get signs. I have helped people be open to getting signs, and you get signs. My dad in particular, music was a big thing for him, and Hotel California will come on the radio when I need it the most. And, perhaps some people will explain it away, well, Hotel California, no big deal. Yeah, perhaps not. But when it comes on to a, greatest or top 40s station, Hotel California don't really fit with their format. And yeah, so he'll show up in places like that. When he first passed away, and I was really having a hard time, the phone would ring, and there would be like this really weird sequence of numbers that didn't exist, and it got to the point that we did the funky thing on the phone where you press it so that your phone company can trace the call, and we did that, and the number didn't exist. So people that you care about that have left this earthly plane, they haven't left you. And when I could wrap my head around that, the feeling of grief, the agony, the crying so hard that I was sputtering, and that lifts, that lessens. And I've come to a place now, 6 years later, that I'm able to see my father for who he was. And I removed the daughterly rose-colored glasses, the don't speak ill of the dead stuff. Like and I'm able to speak in love, but in truth, about who he was. But that's taken me a lot of time. But that, for me, is where a large part of the healing has taken place. I've been mulling around the idea of doing no, not going to put that here. Okay, so you gotta love the way I do these. I do them much like my coffee time chats, but my coffee's empty, so. But those of you that are not yet subscribed to my personal channel, again, my personal channel is Thriving Vine. I have a fan-diggly-tastic giveaway contest going on over there right now. Bah! So, by all means, go over and check it out. It's going to be going on all the way to Sawane. And, yeah, pretty exciting. Yeah, so I think that's all I'm gonna say on this subject. Yep, that's all I got. So there we go. I hope that made sense. Cross your fingers, it made sense too. I wish you all a fan-diggly-tastic day. We thank you so much for being here with us at PeppermintJuju. Please be sure to check out our personal channels. If you do go to, if you click our username down there, and it will take you to our main page, there are links on that side down there to all of our personal channels. So be sure to not only subscribe here at PeppermintJuju, but if you like what you're seeing, check us out on our personal channels as well. There is a plethora, isn't that a cool word? plethora. It's fun to say too, plethora. There's a plethora of information out there from your hosts and hostesses here on Peppermint Juju. So I bid you all a fan-diggly-tastic rest of the week, and it has been an absolute pleasure spending time with you today. And I thank you so much for tuning into Peppermint Juju. Bye.